So, quick medical conversation. Yeah, so, I guess I'm gonna bring up two topics. Pharmaceutical products based on, hold on. I guess, touchy subjects for the American people. And, I guess just add vaccines in there and Bill Gates. And pretty much there you have my two discussions or conversation for today of that topic. And yeah, and then my extra little child me version of what I want to say about like a real scientific mind, such that the teachers that taught me exposed me to, like a mind that is scientifically capable, more in tune with. And where did that go nowadays? Because there's all this science, America has all this education, all this science, and each scientist is trying to collect followers to push their science for their intellectual success, and there is no room to allow the real terms of creating the independent scientific person to mind a person of science is supposed to have their level of self-awareness. And a lot of the science-based methods. Annie, go inside. Annie. So the independent mind, right? We talk about the independent mind a lot, over and over and over again. We associate it with America, the United States of America, because it's a very independent country. But that is very political, and we are a country of intellect, education, but that gets mixed in political association and not necessarily the reason. And so when you associate independence right? We want to bring in all types of people because there are different types of people that live here, the cultures. But we forget this one section, this big important section to modern history of the United States of America. And that big section is lesser and lesser and lesser, and the actual method to terms to conditions for independent mind, an independent thought, an independent set of collected information that someone can have to be able to collect it and then create a concept. And that concept, this is where we have a history in science. I was taught when I was young that there is a process to the scientific method. And when I was young, when I was a kid in elementary, 5th grade, 6th grade, I was being told that you and your information are separate from someone else's, another science mind, another scientist. You are separate. And the other scientist may need your perspective, need your information. I was using the example with my friend that, for example, okay, so I know you're gonna think that this group is crazy, and in some ways a little bit. I don't believe their information 100%, which makes for that that law or the direction to not be foolproof. Okay, because there's other science, and so online you can find this group called Gaia, spelled Gaia. They hold a lot of science together in a like sort of kind of agnostic way. So like they hold a a bunch of science together, and then they so like they start from like sciences that you'll probably understand, that's more physics. So like backing up their science based on laws that already exist. And then they bring in a spiritual feeling of different body reactions based on levels of body and mind exertion, or certain like environmental pills or things like that. And when they bring it back, then they have proven to you a new level of science, quantum physics. And so these scientists are at that point teachers, but they try to bring along basically a a student form of followers, believers, because obviously these people that are providing the information are the ones that have known this information for a longer time. So they're there to teach, and they lack real forms of peer review. So they only want a peer review based on people that believe all their science, and they hold no room for scientists that doubt and could provide a form of check and balance. So a form of saying, hey, don't forget that there are these laws too, and don't forget that you are more than people selling an idea. And so going back to the independent mind that follows a scientific method, you with your own independent form of thinking, logic, and reason, have to be aware of that line, right? This is a problem nowadays, being mixed up in all the confusion and everything, and the facts and what is not fact, and the politics and the trends and what is being sold and all these things. You have to be aware of yourself being separate from that. And being in a community of scientists, you would expect to have that room, but it seriously feels as if that space for yourself is getting lesser and lesser and lesser. And so I say that because you, as an independent thinker, a person that questions and is still looking for truths, for laws, which you day by day then create your own perception, which with those laws, they are science based, and those laws, you being a participant in your life, being aware of those things around you, or how you yourself choose to participate with your eating habits, whether good or bad, still there is laws to the day, and that becomes the scientific method for yourself. So what is a problem is that there isn't enough distinction in that self-awareness. And that self-awareness, you are supposed to have the self-ability, so it's a right, the self-ability to say, I am in search for my own thought, the concept I am searching for. I can be searching for something that is completely outside, somewhere out there, that exists outside of what this group of scientists want you to be a part of. So they essentially try and force a form of loyalty that is quantum level, right? Because at that quantum level, now your beliefs in your everyday, so they are influencing you in your everyday life, where you are actively making decisions to your everyday behavior based on what these people are saying and are wanting for scientific proof. And so you become a form of an asset and an investment. And I guess for people that use this, because this is like a popular trend with people that use the internet and any form of representation out there, the status and all that. I mean, good luck to them, because someday someone's going to jump off a cliff in hardcore belief and loyalty, thinking they're going to fly, and someone's gonna die, and there you go, a good reason to start suing those people. And so see, here's the search. Where is the independent concept? And can you distinguish between a collective mind and if there is such a concept of independent mind, where is it located? Where is it not? What are the reasons why in some place it can be seen and understood, and why in some other area it can't? And is it the place, or is it what is being described? Is it an independent space? That is space, right? So that independent space, it obviously follows the line of consciousness. So a time lived here on Earth, a live moment, and where is it at certain times, and is it what it is, an independent mind, a space, a concept, and can it be seen for being independent apart from the collective? So I go back to those teachers and them holding a big important space in knowing the difference in the method of participating in a scientific method. The distinction between the actual method and participating in a scientific method. So that's where that topic, we're putting a line there. And that may or may not be a discussion brought up in other topics or at some other time. The other thing is what I was referring to and bringing up in international views on American drugs. So, during the discussion, it pretty much came down to calling pharma a very, very lazy company, because you take a sample of, because you need chemical compounds from different people in different areas of the country that you're selling to, because their food products and their everyday household products have different chemicals, and the environment there is different too. So it creates a different set of cells, of chemicals, cells and chemicals in in an area, a location, and obviously American people still are very different from other people from their own countries. And so you have pharma basically selling, obviously holding themselves true to their chemicals and what they represent as their pure forms, their trust, the people, and of the type of chemicals and products that they use and sell. And so, the bodies here in America are more used to the the local form of company that know their 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 people very well. And so the type of chemicals that they are used to and know about are obviously, more specific to finding a differentiating reaction within those who need the medicine. And but in other locations, right, in other countries, you're you're giving that pure form of pills, or I mean basically white powder. And so basically pharma is selling like really good legal cocaine or speed. And so yeah, right, so like I guess bringing in Bill Gates and the vaccines, like obviously good and bad there, right? How much investment in collaborating with, specific chemicals needed, or information needed. I guess the time held for specific property, and because I'm sure that at those levels, those specific chemical compounds and their organized form are very expensive and were bought out, and now they're being held in a trust so that only at a time, right, it's like rent and investment, and either Bill Gates owns those trusts, or Pharma does. And so Bill Gates, right, also has to have a pretty expensive, very, 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 apparently very, 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 very caring lab to be able to know the area and create matching real vaccines for the other countries, not just vaccines made for here. And I guess it depends on your belief on how much the vaccines actually work. Because obviously the thinner chemicals are going to not provide the same effect. Like if you take the vaccine yearly, obviously your body, not taking a harsh drug, is still going to eventually not work as well. And so you're going to have to take like a harder drug, but the vaccines, the yearly vaccines, or the however many years vaccines, are still at the general sold to the population form of chemical. And sometimes obviously that has to do with not being sued for killing someone with the overdose of making them sick. And so it has to be given at a lighter, less dangerous form. And everybody's chemical ranges are different, especially with the mix of chemicals that are out there for each person's preference and the type of genetics they have, and how strong the genetics are or weak. And then basically taking like a medical censorship of that information yearly, and that's like pretty good if like some outbreak doesn't happen, if in a span of like 3 months or 4 months a certain group level of people didn't get sick at a specific location, right? Like no real use for the randomized people at different locations. That's like a group of like 3 people, 5 people, 1 person from different areas. And so yeah, there's that level of perspective and expectations with Bill Gates. And you know, like Bill Gates technically is like better off in a different country with like severe a severe diagnosis of specific infection of bacteria in people, and him investing in locating that infection and freeing a person from that sickness. The investment and the time from Bill Gates to a rate of success is what is important. Like I said, especially if there are investments that are being made, participating in company knowledge. So yeah, there's those two topics, that information, and yeah, so we're talking about two science companies, and well, I guess if you could technically call, I mean, they would be called scientists slash record holders, and scientists based on theory, applied theory. Like I said, it's not law, so it's theory. So if you are stuck in some hardcore belief moments in your life, like, please understand the term for applied theory. It's not law. So you have the choice not to be loyal to those words that they have for you, and like stuck, like, seriously, like, if I don't have their words or their information, my brain has nowhere to go. So I better pay that $7.99 or like $10.99 or something like that to be loyal to this new growing group of spiritual science people. Anyways, that's it.